Hey, it's Jordan with TYT Network. It is Thursday, August 11th. I have Congressman Alan Grayson with me, who is now running for Senate in Florida. He is facing Congressman Patrick Murphy, who is, I would say, a darling of the establishment, which we'll get to. I just wanted to start out, Congressman, and get this out of the way. The Democratic establishment has been one by one going after you, calling for you to drop out. Chuck Schumer, all these folks, they are citing. Politico had a big story of police reports and charges by your ex-wife against you. To my knowledge, there's never been any case made against you, any confirmation that any wrongdoing was done by you. But I just wanted to hear it from you in terms of the validity to those reports and the Congress folk who have been coming after you.
Yeah, sadly, in the midst of a rough divorce, which ended in annulment because my wife actually was married at the time of our wedding, so she committed bigamy. After my lawyers had found the documents indicating that she was married to someone else at the time of our wedding, I went over to the house to pick up the mail. When I approached the front door, she left her car and punched me twice in the face. I backed away. Someone who was there videotaped it. She then called 911, and the operator said to her when she called 911, did he hit you? And she said, no, I pushed him. And then insanely, and that's not a word that I use lightly, but that's a fair description of this, she then filed a domestic violence complaint against me, even though the video clearly showed that she'd hit me twice in the face and I did not hit her. That's what we're talking about. And of course, she was under a lot of pressure at the time because the fact that she committed bigamy, which is a felony in Florida, had recently come to the attention of her lawyers. And this was apparently her way of trying to somehow pressure me or embarrass me or whatever. That's the story. It's a strange story, but clearly one that reflects a sad personal event where I was the victim. My daughter was there at the time. My children were there. My daughter is an adult. She put out a statement saying that she was there and that my wife had hit me and I did not hit her. She's done that twice now because Murphy dredged up this story a couple of weeks ago and tried to make something out of it. And in addition to that, sadly, since I left the house, which was several years ago now, my wife has been very rough on the children. We've had to call children's services several times. There are bite marks on children and so on. And she's called the police 6 times and claimed that the children assaulted her. She's also hit my 80-year-old mother. So that's the story. In the strange times that we live in, someone like me, someone like my children, someone like my mother ends up being depicted in fashions that are inexcusable for political purposes by our opponents.
And to be
And
clear,
that's the way it is.
the Politico report that detailed many times she called the police while you were married, there is no case where you were a case was made against you. Each time it was pretty much she called, they came, and that was that.
And they didn't even interview me about it. What happened, the only time that I ever went down to the police station is when she torched a neighbor's car. And then the police had me go down to the station to say what I knew about that. But that's it. These are very, very strange things for her to have done. I think we all agree on that. But the saddest thing of all is that Patrick Murphy, who has been utterly unscrupulous and run the most negative campaign in the history of the state of Florida, is using these allegations to try to defeat me when, of course, he couldn't possibly defeat me on the merits or on the issues.
And moving on to that, he has been using this to say he cannot debate you because he's so, such a virtuous guy, he can't be on stage with you, even though in America you're innocent till proven otherwise.
Well, I mean, proven is a good word to use here. The police did investigate the incident where she hit me in the face, and it will come as no surprise to anybody. The police concluded that she hit me and that I didn't hit her. So,
Right.
I mean, it was investigated. The police determined that I was the victim. And yet Murphy still tries to dredge this up and turn it against me as an excuse for him not being willing to face the voters
Right.
in a debate between the two of us.
Right.
It's appalling.
And people should know that, Harry Reid's super PAC has dropped, I believe, $1 million, maybe more at this point, on this race against you and for him. President Obama has done radio ads for him. I mean, the murderer's row of establishment politicians is supporting him. He is a very comfortable politician for them. He kind of works does what Hillary Clinton has done. I'm going to go after these people, and then has fundraisers with them. Can you talk about Patrick Murphy and why you think you're the better person to go up against Marco Rubio in the general?
Well, the polls actually show that. The last Quinnipiac poll showed that I have less of a deficit, unfortunately, against Marco Rubio than Murphy does. We're both behind Rubio, but at least in my case, I give the voters a legitimate choice, since I'm a Democrat and Murphy is a Republican masquerading as a Democrat. He gave $2,300 to Mitt Romney's campaign. He maxed out to numerous Republican candidates before he decided to run for Congress and flip parties. Then, according to Salon magazine, he tried to flip parties again and went to Boehner and said, I'd like to change my affiliation to Republican. And Boehner said, we don't want you. But getting back to your original question, look, we in Florida badly need a champion for seniors. We haven't had someone like that since 1989 when Claude Pepper died. And, I've been a strong advocate for greater equality economically, socially, politically especially. I've been I've been the poster boy for fighting back against Citizens United, because I'm the only member of the House of Representatives in either party that raised most of his campaign funds from small donors, 1 out of 435. The only Democrat, and of course none of the Republicans were able to do that. And that means that I'm unbought and unbossed. But beyond that, we need to start talking about generational inequality. It's been 40 years since Social Security benefits were increased by $1. In that time, our income as a country has gone up by 97%, our per capita income. And the benefits that seniors get, their purchasing power has gone down by 3%. So, being someone who wants to represent the entire state of Florida, being someone who represents the senior population south of Orlando, I'm very attuned to this, and I've been attuned to this my whole life.
The Republicans' health care plan for America: don't get sick. That's right, don't get sick. If you have insurance, don't get sick. If you don't have insurance, don't get sick. If you're sick, don't get sick. Just don't get sick. That's what the Republicans have in mind for you, America. That's the Republicans' health care plan. But I think that the Republicans understand that that plan isn't always going to work. It's not a foolproof plan. So the Republicans have a backup plan in case you do get sick. If you get sick in America, this is what the Republicans want you to do. If you get sick, America, the Republican health care plan is this: die quickly. That's right. The Republicans want you to die quickly if you get sick.
My master's thesis at Harvard was on gerontology, the study of the health of seniors and how to improve it. I started the Alliance for Aging Research in 1986, and for more than 20 years I was an officer, and we increased federal spending on aging research, how to improve the health of seniors, by over 500%. Just a couple of weeks ago, I increased free tax advice for seniors by 50%. I've done that twice now. And then I also reversed brutal cuts in senior housing. Just a couple of, several months ago, I was able to do that. And the result of that is that I'm the only one who's actually struggling to improve the lives of seniors in any meaningful way. And I'm doing it not just through the legislative process, but in real life as well. Seniors in Central Florida were facing huge numbers of foreclosures. I cut the number of foreclosures in half through the Grayson mandatory mediation program. And now my initiative to extend Medicare to cover eyes, ears, and teeth has 177 co-sponsors. If we reach 218, which is within reach now, we'll have a majority of the House of Representatives behind the second biggest expansion in the Medicare program in the past 51 years. That's a major accomplishment. Many people don't even realize that Medicare doesn't cover eyes, ears, and teeth. They do, though, when they hit 65, and very soon recognize the human tragedy associated with that. There are 2.7 million blind seniors in America. Many of them would be able to see if they'd gotten a $40 eye test that Medicare is forbidden by law from covering. So I strongly support the $15 minimum wage. I introduced Bernie Sanders' College for All Act in the House of Representatives, and I've pushed that as well. I not only support paid sick leave, but I support paid vacations. And I introduced the first bill for requiring paid vacations because 20 million Americans never get a day off. They never get a paid vacation day in their entire working lives, 20 million of us. And I strongly support a fair day's pay and benefits for a fair day's work, plus universal health care. But what Florida needs right now is somebody who's going to do right by our senior population, which we haven't seen through several generations of seniors as they pass through the Social Security and Medicare system.
And on a broader scale, you look nationally, it's been interesting to me, particularly the DNC. You have Hillary Clinton in her speech saying we're the party of working people. Meanwhile, all the high dollar donors are, drinking their champagne up there. They kind of pretty much had the run of the place. You look at these DNC emails that show pretty much, if you bundle this much money, you'll get on this special advisory board. I'm asking about that just because I think it's not so different on the state level. People like Patrick Murphy, people like Debbie Wasserman.
Exactly why Patrick has gotten the establishment support that he's gotten. I mean, that he bought it. He bought endorsements. Several members of Congress got $10,000 or $20,000 checks from Patrick's father and Patrick's friends at the same time as they announced their endorsement of Patrick. Within a matter of a couple of weeks, they got that money. And Patrick's father has spread around $1.5 million to the party and to the party's favorite candidates. It's corrupt. We live in an oligarchy, take it from me. If there's only one member of Congress who has raised most of his campaign funds from small donors, that means that all the others are basically on the take. And this is Florida's last chance to actually elect somebody who can fight for the greatest good for the greatest number and is unbought and unbossed. You're not going to see this opportunity come up again anytime soon because the system is rigged, and the system is rigged by money. Sewer money controls our political system in America. It's awash in it.
And wanted to ask you, Florida kind of is a real good symbol for every problem we've had. It was ground zero for the housing crash in many ways. Climate change is obviously a threat to Florida, being how close it is to sea levels. Healthcare, you have a lot of seniors, so you would think a senator would have to tackle many different things. Marco Rubio, when he was running for president, never voted. He never showed up to the Senate, and even when he was in the Senate, he barely had a voting record. And when he did, he was voting for things, voting against the Violence Against Women Act. He's very extreme in abortion. Florida is known as a swing state, but beyond Murphy, it seems like you're being very specific in what you'll do for Florida. I don't know what he's done for Florida.
Well, he's the only Democrat in the history of Florida, as far as we can tell, in the House of Representatives who have ever voted in favor of offshore drilling. He's done that. He literally is the only Democrat in the House of Representatives. Excuse me?
You're talking about Murphy or Rubio?
I'm talking about Murphy.
Okay.
The so-called Democrat, the Republican masquerading as a Democrat. He is the only Democrat in the House of Representatives among 188 of us to vote to kill high-speed rail in Florida, even though the system runs right through his district. His father had tried to bid on constructing. His father owns a construction company. His father tried to bid on constructing the system. Murphy originally was in favor of it. After his father walked away from the bid, Murphy suddenly turned against the project. This doesn't necessarily affect Florida exclusively, but just so you know, he He's one of only 4 Democrats in the House of Representatives today who voted in favor of the Benghazi committee witch hunt. Progressive Punch rated him as the 4th worst Democrat in the House out of 188 of us. National Journal rated him the 5th worst Democrat. But it goes beyond the fact that he basically is a Republican masquerading as a Democrat. He's a do-nothing. And so is Rubio. Let me get into some interesting points regarding that. I've introduced more legislation than any other member of Congress. You can look it up. I've passed more amendments than any other member of Congress. It used to be, by the way, that Bernie Sanders was known as the Amendment King. And now I'm known that way because I passed more than 70 amendments just in the past 3 years alone. And these are good, solid, progressive amendments where I find enough Republican support to be able to get them across the finish line. Murphy has passed 7 amendments. I've passed more than 70. Murphy has not, as far as I can tell, written a single bill that has passed even the House of Representatives in the last 3 years when we've been in Congress together. I've passed 26 bills through the House, through the Senate, and signed into law by the president. That's more than anybody else. Slate magazine said I'm the most effective member of Congress. Some other journal said he was the least effective member of Congress. But of course, he's only tied for least effective because there's a number of them who haven't been able to pass a single bill in the past 3 years, even through the House of Representatives. And I've done that over and over and over again. Literally close to 100 bills and amendments passed in the last 3 years alone, more than anybody else. Marco Rubio would also, I think, be called the least effective member of the Senate, not only because he's got the worst attendance record. He's got a worse attendance record than 82-year-old Dianne Feinstein. He's got a worse attendance record than Mark Kirk, who was struck by a terrible stroke and was confined to a wheelchair for years. Worse attendance record than either one of those two. But his only legislative output for the past 5 years has been to pass a resolution to rename September Spinal Cord Injury Month. That's it. So you've got, in my case, what I'm called, which is the most effective member of Congress, against, in the primary, the least effective member of Congress, and in the general election, the least effective member of the Senate.
And lastly, personally for you, what drives you? If we're being real, you're a very wealthy person. It's interesting when wealthy people are actually kind of selfless and want to do good for those less fortunate. You don't see that a lot these days because after the Gordon Gekko days of greed is good, we've seen pretty much social Darwinism take over our politics and our capitalism. What personally for you drives you to focus on those less fortunate, in need, and trying to equal the playing field?
Well, originally, my opposition to the war in Iraq. I mean, what I did was I sued and won against war profiteers in Iraq. The Wall Street Journal said I was conducting a one-man war against contractor fraud in Iraq, which was correct. I testified before Congress about that 4 times before I was ever elected to Congress. And I was on CNN, and New York Times quoted me 5 times, and Washington Post quoted me 4 times, so on. And I ran as an avowedly anti-war candidate in both 2006 when I lost and 2008 when I won. And to this day, I'm the only Democrat to represent downtown Orlando for the past 42 years because the voters wanted somebody who was direct and honest and said it like it is and was saying the things that they were thinking, but nobody else was saying in public life. That was my original motivation. I wasn't elected to anything the first half century of my life, but seeing what I saw when I was attacking and winning against war profiteers in Iraq opened my eyes. And I realized that if I was in the school board, there was nothing I could do about the war in Iraq, but if I was in Congress, there was something I could do. And not only did I help to wind that down, but I also helped strongly to prevent another war in Syria when the president announced that he had plans to go to war against Syria. And I was the only member of Congress who was willing to stand before the cameras and explain why that would be a very, very dangerous and bad idea that would make the situation worse, not better. And of course, in retrospect, that's exactly correct. If I had not spoken up and the president had gone ahead with his plans, we wouldn't have actually destroyed the gas in Syria. We would have destroyed the people controlling the gas in Syria, and it would have fallen into the hands of ISIS. And if ISIS had the gas, we wouldn't just be seeing beheadings and people being thrown off of tall buildings. We'd see mass gas attacks all through Iraq and through Syria, and even greater tragedies than we already see. So I was originally an anti-war candidate. I'm still, I think, a champion of peace. I think it's fair to say that, as well as a champion of justice and equality. But what's gotten me excited since I got the job was all the good that you can do for people. I've moved $71 million through amendments from the military budget to the health research budget. To me, that's a significant accomplishment. In the same way that I was helping to develop cures for seniors and what ailed them when I was an officer of the Alliance for Aging Research, right now I do the same kind of work in Congress, but not just in the area of health, but across the board. In the past 2 months alone, we've passed Grayson amendments, several Grayson amendments that enormously improve the lives of veterans. And I've had a direct impact on the difficult problem that we face between white police forces and black neighborhoods. For instance, I passed an amendment to eliminate weaponized drones that were going to be put into the hands of police forces they could have deployed in black neighborhoods. I introduced an amendment, which was one of the rare Grayson amendments that actually has failed, to take military weapons out of the hands of police. So no more armored personnel carriers, no more tanks, no more machine guns, and so on. And I lost that vote, but then 2 months later, Ferguson happened, and lo and behold, the president took the Grayson Amendment and instituted it by executive order. So, I mean, the short answer to your question is that I get good things done. I help people. I realize that there are 700,000 people in my district who are counting on me to do something good in their lives. And it excites me that time and time and time again, I can deliver on that promise. It excites me, the fact that I could cut foreclosures in my district and then later around the state in half through the Grayson Mandatory Mediation Program. The fact that there are tens of thousands of people who are in their homes today because of a program that I created, that excites me. And that's what motivates me now. This, not just the sense of hope, but the sense that we actually accomplish good things for people and improve their lives by making better laws and, basically standing up for the little guy and the little girl and making sure that the world is organized in a way not simply for the benefit of the top 1%, but for the benefit of everybody. Justice for all.
Thank you. What a concept. A congressman what a congressman and a potential senator who wants to actually help people. Thank you very much, and good luck. It's August 30th. TYT viewers in Florida, I'm sure will like this, and hopefully people who don't watch will like this. Thanks again.
One more thing.
Sure.
The support we get from people, more than 100,000 people have actually contributed to the campaign, comes from our website, which is the modestly named senatorwithguts.com. Just yesterday, as we're recording this, almost 1,000 people came to our website and contributed. That's what keeps all this going. This is the straw that stirs the drink. This is the only genuine grassroots campaign in the entire country, and we need people's help. So whether you want to contribute or whether you want to volunteer, whether you want to make phone calls, or just show your support and sign up for our emails, you can do that at senatorwithguts.com.